welcome back to a new weekly vlog. Today is Sunday, so I'm actually starting a little bit earlier than I have been, which is nice. I didn't think, if you watched the end of my last vlog, I didn't think that I was going to get any reading done, so I didn't think I was going to be popping on today. However, here we are. So before we get into the vlog and the updates, just make sure that you like this video. Make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss any of my content. Make sure that you click the links below in the description to follow me on Patreon to get exclusive content, join our monthly book club, and pick the next book that's going to be coming out. We will be starting to do sprints and a whole lot of other things, so come join us over on Patreon and have a good time. Also, my Instagram and my Amazon wishlist is below, and also my Pango Books account is below because I have some books up that maybe you might be interested in that did come out of that big haul, but there are some special editions as well that I have been filtering through, trying to get rid of and just free up some space on my shelves. So with all of the information out of the way, let's just get into the weekly vlog. I do have a few books that I picked up yesterday. If you watched the beginning of this clip, I went to Books A Million after I got my haircut and everything, and I picked up a few books while I was out. Couldn't pass them up. I also have a box from Fairy Loot that came in, so we're going to see what's in that. I have some reading updates and just a whole lot of fun stuff. Today we're going to be going to my parents' house because my brother is having his birthday party. His birthday isn't until the 30th, but we're just celebrating today since it's Sunday and we can all get together, and since we all work Monday through Friday. So let's just get into everything. First, I'm going to show you the little haul that I have and then kind of go over what I have been reading. So I ended up yesterday, whenever I was at my hairstylist, I ended up picking up a new shower cap and then also a quick drying hair towel because I needed a new one. This is from the Kitsch line, I think. So this is kind of like a satin lined shower curtain or shower cap thing, and then also a quick drying towel because the one that I use is from Walmart that I've got like 8 years ago, so it needs to be retired. Then I also went to Books A Million. I ended up picking up the manga style My Happy Marriage because I don't know if the one that I got, since it's written like in a novel form, if it's the same thing. So I went ahead and got the one that has, you know, the graphics, and it's a full style manga. I can't wait to get into this series. I know that Netflix has it as well on there, but I want to kind of read the books first so they look super fun. It's about a girl who I guess is in an arranged marriage, and she doesn't know who her husband's going to be, or at least thinks he's cruel, and I guess turn of events. So it just says that it's a Cinderella-inspired slow burn historical romance with a paranormal twist set in Taisho era Japan. Am I saying that right? Taisho? Taisho? Anyway, that hooked me. I can't wait to get into it and then also watch that. And then there's also another series that I have been eyeing, and I finally got the first volume in the series because the one that I've been seeing is book 3. And that is My Gently Raised Beast. This is also a comic. And basically it's it's like a teen book. And that's about all that I know. I love the cat on here. But I've just been, seeing it, at Walmart, book 3 at Walmart. So I don't know how many books are out at the moment, but can't wait to get into this series as well. And then I finally got volume 2 of Saga because I have been wanting to desperately finish that series. But volume 2 is never in Books A Million, and whenever I go online it's always like so much money, so I don't know if this is like a most requested volume or what, but I finally got it. It was in Books A Million and I just went ahead and swiped it up. But it's also a graphic novel, and I already read volume 1 and I've been waiting to get into volume 2, so now I finally can. So this is about a girl who was born, and her mother and father both live on these warring moons. They war against each other. And so they end up falling in love. They have a daughter, and the book is from the daughter's perspective, like so much time in the future. So she's looking back, telling you about, her parents and her life and things. So can't wait. I think there's like 10 volumes out at the moment. So I still have quite a ways to go to get through this. But volume 2, here I come. And then now I have the Fairy Loot Box, which I think is my monthly book subscription. I don't think it's a special edition at all. And I get the young adult and the adult book only combo because I don't need all of the stuff that comes in the boxes. I usually throw most of it away anyway because I don't use it. I don't need it. I have too much stuff on my shelves as it is. So I don't know if this is going to be the YA or the adult one, but it comes with a card that has a letter from the author. And then, what book is this going to be? I don't even know. Could be YA, could be adult. But this one is Forged by Blood by Hegibor Akasun. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's a beautiful cover. Look at these pages. Oh, the stenciled edges. And then it usually comes with art in the front of it. And it also is signed by the author. And then look at that. This is the naked hardcover, and it does usually come with a reversible dust jacket if you want to use that. So that is absolutely gorgeous. I don't even know what this is about. Oh, look at these end papers. And then, of course, the naked hardcover on the back is absolutely stunning. So let's see what this is about, because I have never heard of this book. I'm pretty intrigued about it. So it says, Demi only wanted to survive, to avoid the suspicion of the tyrannical Aegis occupying her homeland, to escape the king's brutal genocide of her people, the Aluso, and to live peacefully with her secretive mother while learning to control the blood magic that is her birthright. But survival has given way to vengeance. A betrayal has cost her mother's life, and Demi demands payment. She bides her time until the devious Lord Equincy grants her the perfect opportunity. Kidnap the Age prince and bargain to save the remaining Aluso. She sets out on her hunt with her childhood friend Colin in tow, but the way ahead proves far more dangerous than either of them could have imagined. For she and the prince share more than deadly secrets, and every moment will tangle them further into forbidden, unmistakable attraction. If she is to claim justice for her people and for her mother and her people, Demi will not be able to trust anyone or anything, not Colin, not her fledgling magic, not even her own heart. A tale of rebellion and redemption, love and lies, Forged by Blood is epic fantasy at its finest, richly steeped in Nigerian mythology. Okay, I'm intrigued. I love to, read about different, mythologies and different, legends and lore. So this is going to be pretty interesting. I can't wait because I've never heard much about Nigerian mythology. So I'm pretty excited for that. So this is a beautiful cover, and I can't wait until I can finally get to this. Oh, let me put the author letter in there. So then, I don't know if that's the YA book. Oh, wait. That was the adult book. So, yes. So you get, your little spoilery card. And it was Powerful Bloodlines was the theme for the month. So that was the adult book. So let's see what the YA... Oh, the edges are stunning. So, of course, you get your card with an author from the letter, or from a letter from the author. You guys, I can't talk today. Okay. So let's see what it is. Ooh, that's beautiful. Bonesmith by Nikki Pau Preto. So you have this, and then you have the stenciled edges, which is absolutely beautiful. And then, of course, you have the end papers, the naked hardcover, and then you do have the reversible dust jacket if you ever want to use that. And I didn't notice this because the YA one had plain edges, but on the top here you have, that's beautiful. So the back here has different end pages, and then the naked hardcover is just plain. So it doesn't have much detail on it. But let's see what this is about, because this is kind of exciting. The card here, it doesn't even tell you what the theme of the month was. Reap what you sow is what it's called. So that's pretty interesting. So the book is about, in the Dominions, the dead linger, violent and unpredictable, unless a bonesmith severs the ghost from its earthly remains. For Bonesmith Wren, becoming a Valkyr, a ghost-fighting warrior, is a chance to solidify her place in the noble house of Bone and impress her frequently absent father. But when sabotage causes Wren to fail her qualifying trial, she is banished to the border wall, the last line of defense against a wasteland called the Breach, where the vicious dead roam unchecked. Determined to reclaim her family's respect, Wren gets her chance when a House of Gold prince is kidnapped and taken beyond the wall. To prove she has what it takes to be a Valkyr, Wren vows to cross the breach and rescue the prince. But to do so, she's forced into an uneasy alliance with one of the kidnappers, a fierce ironsmith called Julian, from the exiled House of Iron, the very people who caused the breach in the first place and the House of Bone's sworn enemy. As they travel, Wren and Julian spend as much time fighting each other as they do the undead, but when they discover there's more behind the kidnapping than either of them knew, they'll need to work together to combat the real danger, a dark alliance that is brewing between the living and the undead. Gideon the Ninth meets the Game of Thrones White Walkers in this dark young adult fantasy about a disgraced ghost-fighting warrior who must journey into a haunted wasteland to rescue a kidnapped prince. Now, I've never read Gideon the Ninth. I've heard a lot of people rave about it, but I do love Game of Thrones, and thinking that the undead are kind of similar to the White Walkers is really, really interesting. So I'm pretty excited for that. So again, another book that I can't wait to get to. I'll do more research and see if they are books that I'm actually going to want to read. If not, then I will have these up on my Pango book account if you want to purchase them. So I don't know. I'm pretty excited. I think I'm more excited for the Forged by Blood than I am this one, but nonetheless, they're both stunning editions, and it is also signed by the author. I know I didn't show you that, but it is signed by the author. So let me get these little peanuts picked up, and then I'm going to go over my book update. So I ended up picking up Love Theoretically by Allie Hazelwood. Now, I'm in love. So I'm a huge Allie Hazelwood fan. I have read Love Hypothesis, Love on the Brain, and even Loath to Love You. That is the 3 novellas with 3 different friends. So, of course, I already knew that I was going to at least enjoy this book, but I didn't realize how much I was loving it. So far, I'm like 12, 13 chapters into it. It could be my favorite book so far by Allie. It could very well be, because I am so hooked. You're following Elsie, who is an adjunct professor, and she is trying to get a job at MIT. But being an adjunct professor, she doesn't make a whole lot of money, so she does this moonlighting gig for fake dating on an app. And one of her favorite clients, Greg, you're not supposed to have multiple repeat clients, but she does it for Greg because she, enjoys his company and she does like him. So she goes to all the family functions over a 6-month time period. And in that course, his family loves her. She meets his brother Jack, who is nothing but, an asshole, basically is what she says. And she finally gets a job or an offer to interview for MIT alongside someone else who is interviewing for the job. Now, it's kind of like a group interview type thing without the other person being there. It's with like all the other people at MIT and the faculty. And in walks Jack, her favorite client's brother. So he thinks that she's a librarian and, does all these other things. So he thinks that she's lying to his brother. He has no idea that they're actually fake dating. Their banter is so amazing. The way that Jack is, the way that she is, like her ramblings in her head and everything. I just love both characters so much. And the way that Allie writes the romance, even though these characters are in job fields that I would know nothing about, she makes it very easy to understand, very easy to relate to. And she brings the characters down to kind of like a human-like level where it would be as if you're talking to your friend. So I'm eating this book up. I'm loving it. I can't wait to see what happens with Jack and Elsie. Things have came out. Jack has found out the truth just recently that I've read. So now he knows that she is not actually his brother's girlfriend and knows the truth about her. So we're going to see where things go now with that. So I'm just loving it, you guys. Absolutely adoring it. I love the way that Allie Hazelwood writes her men as well, because they are kind of like your off-kilter men that don't say anything. They stare at you for long periods of time. They can seem mean, kind of broody, but then like you chip away at their layers and you find out more about them and you just fall so much in love with them. So I just love it. I'm eating it up. So far, a 5-star read for me, but again, I'm only like halfway through, so we're going to see how that goes. But I wanted to jump on here and let you guys know that I did end up picking this up. I know that I made the video stating what my September TBR was going to be. I think this is going to be finished before the end of August because I'm just enjoying it so much. So this is the only book that I've really started, and we're going to see how much I get read because it is the end of the month, the last week of August, and usually that's the time that gets really busy at my work, but also it is where my boss and my boss's boss, they're both gone to kind of like a seminar retreat thing at in Dallas. So they're not going to be there. It's just me and the other girl in the office, and it gets kind of busy at the end of the month. So we're going to see if I actually get through this or if I start any other books this week. But I just wanted to pop on here, kind of give you a reading update. We're getting ready to go to my brother's birthday party. So if I get any clips on that, I'll, do that. And we maybe give my dog a bath there as well because it's easier to do it outside because he's an older dog. He's almost 15 years old. So he doesn't stand up very well. It's hard to get him in and out of the bath. So it's easy to just kind of bathe him when we're at my parents' house, just outside with the garden hose. So we might do that as well at my brother's birthday party. I don't know. But I'll insert some clips for you guys. But I hope everyone has a good week. It's been a great Sunday, and I will pop back on whenever I have updates for you. Bye. Hello everyone, it is Tuesday and I have some reading updates for you. I know that I didn't update yesterday because I didn't quite have as much reading updates, or at least that many thoughts to go with this, but I need to tell you that something has happened this week. It's changed. I think things are turning around, okay? But I don't want to really say anything and kind of jinx myself, but it's good. It's looking good. It's looking really good, guys. So I have Allie Hazelwood's book that I have been reading. Now, I am absolutely loving this book. Loving this book. I think I'm on like chapter 18 or 19. I am nearing the end. I've already gotten over, the hump. of the middle of the book, and I've already gotten over the fact where, he finds out who she really is, and, that she wasn't lying to his brother kind of thing, and things are starting to progress with them a little bit, but not as suddenly as it did in Love Hypothesis and Love on the Brain, where it felt like they went away for a weekend and all of a sudden they're so in love, right? So this one's taking a little bit more time, which I'm perfectly fine with. I love that. I love how Allie Hazelwood has written this book. I feel like right now, this is probably the best that she has ever done in this, STEMinist series. So I don't want to say anything and jinx myself, but I think, you guys, we might have a 5-star. It might happen. So I'm pretty excited. I will let you know how I feel after I finish the book, because right now where we're at, things could go downhill very fast. So I'm going to see how it works and update you once I finish this. However, you guys, I made a mistake. And here's the mistake I made. Do you remember whenever I said that I downloaded Fairy Here's the beautiful cover that I am going to put on here, because I don't like the other one. So do you remember I said that I downloaded Fairy and I was just going to kind of dip in and out of it? I really wasn't going to make it a priority read. That was my mistake. Because I started reading it on my Kindle, I want to say Sunday evening, or maybe even yesterday on my lunch. I don't really quite remember where it was that I started Fairy but I'm addicted. So addicted that I have put down Love Theoretically and solely have been reading Fairy And I think I am almost 25% of the way through it, which it's nearly an 800-page book. So I'm roughly close to 200 pages in. I'm loving it, you guys. Here's my thoughts. I love it. I'm intrigued. I'm not wanting to get out of the world. I'm loving everything about it, but it's weird and I don't understand what's going on. So those are my thoughts. And let me try to articulate what I'm saying if any of you have never read Fairy So it is a gothic, horror, historical, romance, fantasy. It's all of these genres, right? It's an unconventional romance. There are quite a lot of triggers, so I do stress for anybody that does want to read Fairy please check trigger warnings first, because there are quite a few, and the almost 25% of the way that I am through the book, there have been quite a few triggers that would, definitely need to be read over before you go into it. So I just stress to everybody, please check trigger warnings. So basically you are following our female main character. And she was orphaned as a child, I want to say around 10 years old. Her mother died. She had no living family that her mother talked about. She was dropped off at this orphanage where these nuns run it. And she was raised through that orphanage, and now she went through schooling and now is a teacher at one of the schools in the area, and the nuns helped her get that job where she lives on site. So basically she doesn't have like rent and board and all of that, so she's just getting money. But this is 1955, I believe, so it's not like a huge paycheck or anything, but she roommates with another person, and we start the story with her there, in the school, going back to her room, all of these things. Well, at some point she gets a letter delivered to her, and this letter tells her that her father has passed away. Now, she has never known her father, didn't even know her father was still alive or anything, because she was never told anything about that. So this is kind of a shock to her. She's like, what do you mean, my father? And now he's dead. So why am I being notified? And she's being notified by a lawyer. And she is told that she needs to go to Fairydale, which is where her father lived, and to hear the reading of the will, because I guess she's in it. And, you know, she's given $1,000, which in 1955 is a lot of money, and a train ticket from Boston to Fairydale. So she, you know, ends up deciding that she's going to go, and we're off to Fairydale. She gets stopped in Ipswich, and they say that there is no train that goes to Fairydale, and that she's mistaken, and that the ticket was printed wrong or something like that. So she ends up making it to Fairydale. The lawyer who had sent her the letter ends up picking her up at the train station. She's on her way to Fairydale. Weird things start happening, okay? Now, I don't really want to go into a lot of spoilers, because if there are people out there that will want to read this, especially if you are like me, where you saw Arcane Society announce that they were doing a special edition of this book, I wanted to read it first before I purchased it, because I'm kind of like, I don't want to purchase every special edition, especially if I've never read it. I'm just in that mood, so I want to know if I'm actually going to want to have it on my shelf or not. So that's why I'm in this world of Fairydale. Now, in this town, without giving away spoilers, there are these odd murders that are happening. There are odd deaths that are happening. The townspeople act strange. There's also something going on with our female main character, because whenever she falls asleep, she is dreaming about a different time period. I want to say it's like 1789, 1790, and it's over in England. And she's dreaming as if she's this person named Elizabeth. And in her dream, she meets this guy named Amon D'Artain, I think is how you pronounce it. Please don't come after me. I know that I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. But she meets him in this dream, and sorry about that, guys. My dog decided to start barking because my husband was going to take him out. So she meets this guy in her dream as Elizabeth, and he is weird but compelling. She's intrigued. She knows that she should be fearful of him, but she feels safe, kind of thing. Something happens, and I don't want to tell you what it is, but anyway, it kind of brings them closer, I guess, in the dream, and then he's gone. And then we're back with, you know, I'm so sorry. I think I'm having some technical difficulties. However, I'll just go ahead and quickly get this wrapped up. So we're back with our female main character, and she has met Caleb Hale in the town, and everybody is like, stay away from Caleb, you know, that has interacted with her, that he's bad news, he has things wrong with him, all of these things. So she's scared of Caleb, but also intrigued with him, and just things happen. So now we're in this like weird situation where she's in a town where people hate her, they think that she's a murderer, they think she's a witch and a hussy and all of these things. She's going to sleep at night and she's dreaming about a different time and a whole different person, and basically falling in love with this guy in her dreams. It's really weird. She is then in the normal world, and she is kind of around Caleb Hale a lot, and things are weird with Caleb. And nothing seems right in this town. I'm legitimately confused, but I'm also like really eating the story up. It's weird but intriguing, and it's, you know, a little bit of horror, but not too much where I'm not liking it. I'm actually really enjoying it. So I'm almost 25%, like I said. So roughly close to 200 pages in. I still have no idea what's going on. I don't understand why she's having these dreams. I don't understand why these people are treating her this way. I don't know why everyone tells her to stay away from Caleb Hale. I don't understand a lot of things about our female main character, and I can't say much more because it would give away some spoilers. But there's just so much that you just don't understand, but yet you can't stop reading. It's one of those books where you're like, I don't know what's going on, but I can't put this Kindle down. I can't stop reading, and that is where I'm at. So, you guys, I'm already going to say this right now. Unless something drastic happens with this book, I think it's going to be like a solid 4-star book. And I think I'm going to purchase the Arcane Society edition whenever it gets launched on the 15th of September, I think. As of right now, we're 25% of the way in. Let's figure out how I feel like 70 or 80% of the way in. And I think this is just a standalone, which I'm so happy about. But those are my thoughts right now. I know it's a jumbled mess. I know that I've had to edit this, because I've had to stop and pause my video so many times, so I apologize for that. It's Tuesday night. I mean, it's, kind of a weird night. We had to get our grocery shopping done. We had to get a few things done because our vacation starts this Saturday, where I don't have to go back to work for like 10 days, and I can't wait. But we're doing like a staycation where we're staying at the apartment. We have no plans at all. I told my husband, I said, I'm okay if we just stay in our pajamas and be potatoes for a week. I'm okay with that. So probably won't happen. We're probably going to go visit, my parents, and probably do a few things around town and stuff like that, because you don't want to stay in your place the whole time, but it would be a nice thought. So I'm trying to get a lot of stuff done this week, like all of the cleaning, all of the grocery shopping, all of the bills paid, so then Friday, whenever I get off work, the only thing I have to worry about this weekend is laundry, and that's all I want to do. So that's what we're doing tonight. So I don't know if I'm going to get much read tonight. I don't know if I'll update you tomorrow or Thursday, because I don't know how much I will have to update you tomorrow. But if there is some updates, even if it's a quick popping on during my lunch, because I feel like that might happen if something happens in Fairytale, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But hope everyone's having a good week. I'm sorry about my jumbled up thoughts, but I just had to get on here and tell you about the 2 books that I'm reading, because after the past couple of weeks, I have had the worst luck with the majority of books I've been reading, and I am just so happy that so far I love everything. So I'll see everyone Wednesday or Thursday. Have a good night. Hey you guys, it is Thursday, and I look a mess because tomorrow is Friday, and as soon as I clock out tomorrow, I am on a 10-day vacation. I'm actually just staying at the apartment. The husband and I just took some time off because a video game is launching that I really want to play, and plus with our busy season coming up in October, I just wanted to kind of do a little bit of staycationing, just relaxing, reading, doing a little bit of other things. Now, I have some updates for you. Some reading updates. And it is wild. Today is the last day of August, and I didn't think that I was going to finish one of these books, and I did. So, I did finish Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. Now, what I want to say about this book is it's 5 stars. Hands down, absolutely love it. It's my favorite in her feminist novel series that she has. I absolutely love Elsie as a character. You can connect to her on many different levels. You go through everything with her. You hear her inner monologue, and it's as if you are Elsie, because there is something about her that every person can relate to. Not necessarily her job, but her life, like how she feels, how she portrays friendships, how she portrays relationships. I just felt so in love with Elsie as the main female character. One other thing that I really liked about this book is, aside from Love Hypothesis and Love on the Brain, which the love seemed to be very instantaneous, right? Like all of a sudden, the miscommunication or whatever it is that was keeping them apart, or, making the female main character not like the male main character, was like resolved overnight. And I feel that this really took it slow. It gradually led you into the love and the romance. I absolutely loved that. I loved everything about this book. I loved Jack as a character. I loved that he didn't push too fast. He was always trying to slow her down. Just everything about it. And the one thing that I just couldn't get enough of was Elsie is a huge Twilight fan, and for that to be written in 2023 when people are already past their Twilight phase and everyone looks back at it and we have a good chuckle, a good laugh. The one thing that I love about it is that she is still like, I am obsessed with Twilight, still watching the movies, reading the fanfic and everything. And I think that most people that were Twilight fans could probably look back and have nostalgic vibes. They probably feel the same way. So I connected to Elsie on a multitude of levels, and I think that's why it was a 5-star read for me. I absolutely loved it. Felt like that it was very fleshed out. The pacing was amazing. The world building was good. The characters and the side characters were just perfection. And the story did not go at a pace like it did in the previous 2 books, where you are thinking, oh, they, hate each other, they're enemies, or whatever the case may be, and then all of a sudden, like Love on the Brain, they go to New Orleans, and then all of a sudden they're so in love and they're living together. And this moved at a more realistic pace for me. So 5 stars, highly recommend. If you have read the previous 2 novels and you had any of those things that possibly you didn't like about it, the pacing or how quick the love came on, try this. If you haven't read any of Ali Hazelwood's books, start with this one. I think you will love it more than you would the other 2. So good. So I finished that up in August. So I know that's on my September TBR, which didn't expect that to happen. I listened to it on audio this week at work. I thought that with as busy as it was going to be, it's the last week of the month. We have 2 people gone in our office, so it was just me and another girl. I thought I wasn't going to get much of this read, but boy, was I wrong. I was wrong. Absolutely loved it. I can't wait and see what Ali Hazelwood does, either as another novel in that series, or I can't wait to read her Check and Mate, her YA romance series that she's starting. In, I think, November it comes out. I also saw, I don't know if it's out yet or not, but I saw she was writing a paranormal romance, I think with vampires, and I think it's called Bride. So I want to read that too. I am a huge Ali Hazelwood fan. 3 books in. I think Love Hypothesis was a 3-star. Love on the Brain was 4-star. And Love Theoretically was a 5-star. So she's an instant pickup author for me. I'm going to devour every book that she comes out with. So that is all the books that I did complete. Now, I am going to put right here for you to skip forward if you do not want any spoilers for the next book. This is a big spoilery section of this weekly vlog. I can't hold it in anymore. I was going to try to keep it spoiler free. I can't do that anymore. So definitely skip forward. Okay. So, if you're still here, that means that either A, you've already read Fairytale by Veronica Lancet, or you don't mind the spoilers because maybe you're not going to read it. However, I messaged, or actually I didn't message, I put on my Instagram the books that I was currently reading. And then I put it on my story. And I also put in the description of that post, I tagged both Ali Hazelwood and Veronica Lancet as the authors, and I was like, these books I feel are going to be strong contenders for 4 or 5-star books as of right now. And Veronica Lancet actually reshared my story post about it. And I messaged her and I said, thank you for resharing. I absolutely love it. And I didn't expect her to respond to me, because most authors, unless they're like indie authors that maybe doesn't have like a huge following, they don't usually respond to me. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I was just happy that the author saw my story and I was like, this book is amazing, right? Like, pick it up. And she responded to that post. And I was at work and I saw that and I literally started screeching, because I have never read from Veronica Lancet before. I've never read any of her books. I actually had told her that I picked up Fairytale because Arcane Society had originally announced that they were doing a special edition of it on September 15th. So I wanted to read the book first, see if I wanted to actually buy the book, since it wasn't going to be in a subscription box. So I picked it up. I am 65% of the way through. Now, this book is a chunker, okay? It's like 777 pages, close to 800, I believe, and it's a chunker. So I messaged Veronica Lancet whenever I was only like 40-ish% of the way through, and I was just absolutely eating this book up. Now that I'm at 65%, I am like, I just want to spend the rest of this night reading that book, and I can't, because we're cleaning, we're getting things ready. So whenever I clock out from work tomorrow night, I ain't got to do nothing. So just had to tell you guys, I was giddy like a schoolgirl. I was fangirling over Veronica Lancet. I am most definitely going to be reading some of her backlist, some of the books that she has. I desperately want to get this version of Fairytale, because I love the illustration on it. It has such good vibes. I absolutely adore it. That's why I'm showing you this one rather than the regular version. Not that the regular version isn't good, because it really is. But for my taste, I really want the illustrated edition. So bad. So I am desperate to come up with the money to buy it off of Amazon. I think it's like $25. So maybe by the end of September, I'll be able to get that illustrated edition, because I definitely want to get the Arcane Society edition first. But yeah, I am hoping that once I finish Fairytale, I'm going to see if Veronica will message me back, because I'm going to ask her, what if I absolutely adored this book? Suggest to me another book that you've written that I should try, because I've never read from her before. And if I love that book, she's instantly on my instant pickup author list. So anyway, let's get into the spoilers of Fairytale. I'm done fangirling. I'm done going over all of that. So Fairytale, if none of you are familiar with it or anything, it is a gothic horror fantasy paranormal-esque romance, historical. There's a lot of genres. So the best way that I can try to summarize this book so far is you are following our female main character named Darcy. And Darcy was orphaned as a child. She grew up in this, it's not a monastery, but with nuns and everything. They had paid for her to go get continuing education, and now she is in her early 20s. She is a teacher at one of the, I want to say Catholic schools possibly, but it's definitely a religious school. She lives there, and it's back in 1955, so she doesn't make a whole lot of money, which is fine. She doesn't date. She's never felt the need or the want to date a guy. No one's really caught her attention, which is okay with her. She loves teaching. She loves being around the children and her friends. So whenever we meet Darcy, she receives a letter that says that her father, who she's never known about, and I think, I may be wrong, but I think her mother, before her mother died, had told her that her father died already. So she never even tried to seek out who her father was. So she gets this mysterious letter that she has to go to Fairytale, and she has to go to his funeral and go to the reading of the will, because she's in the will and she's going to gain an inheritance. They sent $1,000 to her, and they also sent her a train ticket that goes from Boston to Fairytale, and she crosses through Ipswich, which I guess is a town close to Fairytale. So she's like, who sent me all this money? I guess it was the lawyer that her father had. His name is Mr. Vaughn. So she talks with her roommate, her friend, and she decides that she's going to go. But she makes a detour and goes and sees the nuns. And so the nuns do confirm that her father is alive. They do confirm that her father was sending money in to give her further education and everything, because she always wondered why she got more than everybody else. So Darcy then is like, okay, I'm going to Fairdale. So as we're traveling with her, she gets to Ipswich, and the conductor or somebody, a part of the train, tells her that she has to get off because this is the last stop. And she says, wait, my ticket says I'm going to Fairdale. And they tell her that there is no train that goes to Fairdale. So after we get all this, she gets off, she goes to the ticket master wondering how she's going to get to Fairdale, and they're like in a car. They're completely rude to her. She gets mugged, and her entire suitcase is taken with the rest of her money that she had. So all she has is her purse. And so she is walking out of the train station, and all of a sudden Mr. Vaughn shows up, the lawyer of the family. So now she's like, that's kind of coincidental, but, you know, he kind of gives her some explanation, so she just writes it off. She gets in the car. They're traveling. Whenever they get into Fairdale, weird things start happening, guys. They start happening automatically, right? So now we're in Fairdale. We're following Darcy. She's meeting the family that her father had because she found out that her mother had an affair with her father. And she ran off with her or whatever. So she has like a half sister and a half brother, or two half sisters and a half brother. But she does have half siblings. The mother clearly doesn't like her. The daughter clearly doesn't like her. I think her half brother is somewhat nice to her. So she's like, why did you bring me here, saying that the family wanted to meet me? And they don't care. So here we are, you know, in this town that she knows nobody, right? It's 1955. So back then, you know, there wasn't, it wasn't proper to really be by yourself and alone with men. So she's this very proper lady, and they tell her that this house is hers that's in the will. So she goes and stays at this house, which is like completely on the outskirts of Fairdale. It's across from this old church that's boarded up and sealed up, and they say that it's been boarded up since the early 1800s, whenever the plague came through Fairdale, and no one has ever opened it since. So she doesn't think much of it. So she ends up staying in this house, and she hears the organ playing in the church, which is supposed to be boarded up. She goes over to investigate it because why not, right? Like, any sane person is going to do that, right? I don't think so, Darcy. So she goes to the church, and she gets she's in the church, and she's like, I thought this was boarded up. She ends up meeting a guy named Caleb Hale. Now, the Hales are like the richest people in town, but some families don't like them. It's kind of like where families are like in their own little cliques, right? And they don't like each other, and she doesn't understand why. So she meets Caleb, and he's kind of like brooding and alpha and like dangerous. So she gets back to her place, and he's like staring at her while she's in the window. It's kind of creepy. Anyway, she goes to the funeral. Weird things happen there, right? Like, her father just comes out of the casket and then spontaneously combusts, and she's like, what is happening? She is seeing visions of things that she doesn't understand, doesn't know what's going on. Whenever she falls asleep, she tends to have dreams being back in 1790 Haversham, England. And she's in a different body, like a girl named Elizabeth. So she's like living Elizabeth's life, where Elizabeth is being courted by a guy named Amon D'Artagnan. I don't know how to say his last name. But she's being courted by him, but he's not somebody that her mother wants her to be with. And so it's kind of like they're sneaking around type of thing. And then back in 1955, Fairdale, weird things are happening to Darcy. She's seeing things, she's hearing things, Caleb's acting weird, the whole town is acting weird. She goes to the reading of the will and finds out she's going to get $1 million, but only if she stays in Fairdale for 2 months. And so she's like, I don't need the money. I'm going to leave. And then not her stepmom, but like the mother of her father, or the wife of her father, like is just absolutely rude to her. And so is her daughter. And so in spite, she's like, I'm going to stay these 2 months and I'm going to get my inheritance, so you don't get it, kind of thing. She goes back to her house and she has this cat, which this cat coincidentally is named Mr. Meow. She names him Mr. Meow because in her dream of like 1790 England, there's also a cat that looks identical. And Elizabeth named him Mr. Meow. So I'm like, what does this cat have to do with anything, right? Like there's a part of the mystery here. The cat wakes her up and her house is burning, like on fire. She can't get out because the stairs are completely engulfed. The side of the house is engulfed. So she tells the cat that, to flee. And so the cat does. And all of a sudden, Amon shows up. Now, she is falling in love with this guy just because of her dream. And then Amon shows up like he's actually there. And so he basically saves her. Now, enter Caleb Hale the next day. He is like, you're going to come stay at the Hale residence. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You'll be safe there, all of these things. So she reluctantly accepts and goes. So as she's there, weird things happen there too. Caleb's acting weird. She's seeing ghosts. She's seeing like a monster that's trying to kill her. People know that it's haunted. So this whole like everything going on between her dreams and her reality, she honestly thinks she's going insane. And as a reader, you're thinking that. You're like, does this lady have like schizophrenia? Does she have like some sort of mental diagnosis that we haven't figured out yet? So as a reader, you're just like, but it did happen to her, but did it really happen? Because she had one instance where she goes into the painting room with Caleb, and she's like, you can paint me or whatever. And then all of a sudden, Caleb's behind her, like unbuttoning her blouse or whatever, and he bites her or whatever, and there's blood coming down and stuff. Well, whenever she like pushes away from him and like runs away or something like that, she has no blood on her. Caleb doesn't look like he has blood on her, and he's like, Darcy, that wasn't real. Like, what are you talking about? So she thinks she's going insane. So I think later that night or a couple nights later, she sneaks out of her room and goes to the painting room, and she sees all of these canvases turned around. Whenever she turns them around, they're all of her. Okay, in all of these like erotic positions, okay, and you don't know who the male is, but she's assuming that it's Caleb. So she's like, Caleb's the only one that has seen my body, without clothes on, because he had helped her whenever she fainted at one point. It was kind of a weird situation. So now she goes to confront Caleb. She has one of these canvases and she's going to confront him. And literally, he's like, Darcy, what are you talking about? And as she looks at it, it's like a landscape. And whenever he takes her in there, it's like all just like landscapes and sceneries. And so now she's like, I'm really going insane. So you guys, this whole thing, like I was like scratching my head. I'm like, who is Caleb? Are these dreams real? Why does Mr. Meow look like the same Mr. Meow from 1790? I don't really want to give too much away on who Amon is or because I've gotten to the point in the story where we find out who Amon is. We find out who Darcy is. You find out who all the people in the town are. And I'm going to tell you something right now. There is a gentleman named Mr. Nicholson, and he's in the town. And I just finished up the scene. We find out who Mr. Nicholson is. And I'm not lying. My jaw was on the floor. I was like, oh my gosh, Veronica. How did you weave that in there? And I couldn't put those pieces together. That is what I'm loving about this book, you guys. Like, literally, like I can't piece them together. There's like a mystery, but a suspense, but it's like a gothic horror, but it's not scary. It's just creepy. There's just so many things interwoven, and I'm like, the brain of this author is immaculate, because I can typically see where a story is going, and I can typically see where, like, the mystery of what the author is trying to do. I have not once predicted anything that has came to light. Not one time. So that's a shocker for me. I'm just telling you guys right now, if you love gothic horror, if you love a paranormal, unconventional romance, and whenever I say unconventional, you'll know what I mean whenever you read the book. I can't tell you because that'll give it away. If you love dual timelines, if you love a good mystery that you will not be able to predict, pick this book up. I am in love with this book. I haven't even finished it yet. I don't even know what the author is going to do to me because I still have like 277 pages to go, I think, or 275. So whatever she's going to do to me, I think my mind is going to be blown. I'm ready for some plot twists. Like, the Mr. Nicholson thing, huge plot twist. Could not believe that was going. I think Darcy has figured out what Caleb's whole role is. I think the author's leaning to that because of what Darcy's been saying in her head. I think Darcy is starting to see a lot of things that I never even would have thought about. So I have rambled on for far too long, you guys. I just have to tell you about where I'm at in this book because I am just so in love with it. It's hard for me because I'll go through 20 books, right? And they could be anywhere between 2 stars and 4 stars. And I may even give like a 5-star out, like I did for Love Theoretically. But I have never, since I read A Court of Thorns and Roses, have I been this gripped in a story where I am coming home and all I'm doing is reading for hours on end. Whenever I'm on lunch, I usually talk to my husband and I'm like, honey, I gotta go read. Okay. This book is consuming my life and in a good way. So it's amazing. Let me know below if you've read it because you know what I mean. And I'm pretty sure with me still having a good 35% of the book to go, I'm in for a ride because if we've already revealed the things that we've already revealed in the past like 15%, we're in for a wild ride, and I can't wait, you guys. I'm pretty sure this book is going to continue over into my next week vlog, but I just had to tell you about it now because I don't know if I'm going to update you tomorrow or if I'm going to update you Saturday whenever I do in this vlog, but I just had to come on here. I had to tell you about this weird but amazing and intense book that has consumed every part of me at this moment, and the last time I had that feeling, I've had good 5 stars, right? Like where I'm like, you guys need to read this book. It's amazing. But the last time I was gripped like this was like 3 or 4 years ago whenever I read A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I could not put those books down. Actually, I take that back. I did make a lie. Because whenever I read A Court of Thorns and Roses, I read the entire trilogy plus the novella in about 2 days. I couldn't put them down. I lie. There has been one series that has gripped me, and that was the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, which I read the Once Upon a Broken Heart and the Ballad of Never After all within 24 hours. I could not stop. So whenever I find a book that grips me like that, it does. So the way that Veronica Lancet has structured this book and has gripped me, it is on the same level as Sarah J. Maas for me. It's on the same level as Stephanie Garber. And I'm not saying that the stories are anywhere similar because they're not. Like all 3 series or all 3 books are entirely different. But as an author, to be able to write that way, to be able to grip you like that, they're on that level for me. And so Veronica Lancet has made it to my shelf of authors that grip me, that suck me in and don't let me go. And I love that. So I'm going to let you guys go. It's Thursday evening. I'm going to finish up cleaning, grab me a little bit to eat. I don't know if I'm going to read tonight because, like I said, we are getting ready for the staycation that we're going to have because I don't want to clean. I don't want to do none of that while I'm gone. So think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to just kind of get that done. If I get some reading done, cool. I don't know if I'll update you tomorrow or not. If I don't, it'll definitely be Saturday when I wrap up this vlog. So I hope everyone's having a good week. I cannot believe that I finished up Love Theoretically. I also can't believe that this book came out of absolute nowhere and has consumed my entire life, and I'm okay with that. It is the end of the month. Tomorrow starts the beginning of the month. So I have that TBR to deal with, but I'm not getting to it until I get done with Fairytale. There's no way. So that's what we're going to do, you guys, and I hope you're having a good week. I hope you have a good start to your September, even though you won't see this until Tuesday, but I hope you guys have a good night. I'll see you on Friday or Saturday. Bye! Hey everyone, so it is Sunday, and I know that I said that I was going to update you guys either Friday or Saturday. However, whenever my staycation started, I literally just forgot about everything that I wanted to do because we had not necessarily a busy week last week, but also I was in the mood where I was like, I just can't wait for vacation. My body was just mentally and physically drained. Even though I work at a desk, you would be amazed at how wore out you actually become. So I wanted to come on here because I actually just finished Fairytale today, and I am absolutely in love with this. I know that I gave a few spoilers and everything at the on Thursday, I believe. I'm not going to give any spoilers because from here on out, from where I ended my review from Thursday to now, if I told you anything, it would give away what the book is about. It would give away all of the plot twists and everything that you're leading up to, and I don't want to do that because I feel that if you love gothic horror, if you like historical, fantasy, paranormal, and even a romance, you desperately need to pick this book up. I can't suggest it anymore. This was a 5-star read. Hands down, 5-star. It is going on my shelves. I am forever going to be thinking about these characters and this world, and I can't wrap my head around what the author did. Literally from like the 65-70% mark where I was at to the ending, it was one plot twist after another, and it just kept dominoing down, and I was just like, what is happening? Like, I didn't, expect any of this to happen. I didn't expect any of these turn of events to go on, or the backstory, or who these characters were, how they were interconnected. Just everything about this book is just jaw-dropping. And I feel like the author, the way that she came about this world and this story, I mean, I have never, even with Sarah J. Maas, I have never read a book that I have never been able to at least maybe even guess one of the plot twists that's coming. I've never been able to not do that. And this author shook my mind at every turn. Every time I thought that one thing was going to be this and it ended up being entirely different. I ended up messaging the author earlier today, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I have to tell you, I finished up Fairytale, and I was just going on a rant about it because it was so good. And then I even told her, whenever I was like 200 or 300 pages into the book, I had thought one plot twist, like the big plot twist, I thought it was one thing, and I can't tell you what it is because I don't want you guys to even have an inkling of what this book ends up being. But I told her, and I was like, and I was absolutely way far off. And, that is the way that an author really knows their story, really listens to their characters, and stays true to them. Because this book by no means is a sweet, romance that, is going to have a happily ever after. There's gore. There's murder. There is some morally gray outcomes, I guess, that as anybody, as a sane person, would be like, that is terrible. It shouldn't happen. But for the character that did it or that chose to do it, it stayed true to them. And that is what I love. She didn't shy away from, making some of the characters be, vicious or be, morally gray. She didn't shy away from the blood and the gore and the descriptive parts of that. She didn't shy away from any of it. And that's what I really loved. This wasn't a sweet fairy tale romance that you're going into and you're like, oh, it's so swoony. No, this is a mystery. This is a suspense. This is a thriller. This is gothic. This is horror. This is, downright brutal. The things that some of the characters go through is absolutely terrible in my eyes. There is rape. There is, murder. There's gore. There's blood play, period play, a whole slew of trigger warnings. So please make sure that you check those out. But I just had to come on and tell you guys, I finished Fairytale. It is going on my shelf. At some point in September, I'm crossing my fingers that I'll have enough money to where I can get this version of it, the illustrated cover of it, because it's absolutely stunning and beautiful. And although I like the original cover, it doesn't set with my vibes and what, I kind of want on my shelves. But both covers are beautiful. They really, really are. I feel like if you look at this illustrated cover, I feel like you're going to think, oh, this is a swoony romance. This is, one of those happily ever afters. And then you look at the original cover and you're like, whoa, this is gothic. This is horror. This is not for the faint of heart. So I really like the big contrast of the covers, but I just want the illustrated cover. But my first thing is I'm getting enough money to get the Arcane Society edition. That is first and foremost going on my list. But if anybody likes any of those things that you have heard throughout this vlog, definitely pick it up. Give it a try. I did reach out to the author. She did give me a suggestion on another book that she had written. It is the first book in a series. So I am starting that tomorrow on Monday, and that is going to go on my next week's vlog. I'm actually going to do something quite different for next week's vlog because today is Sunday, so this whole week coming up, I'm on staycation. There's not going to be a whole lot going on. There's not really going to be a whole lot of footage unless you guys want to see my animals just around the apartment or me playing video games, because that's about all it's going to be. I'm just taking a mental break. I'm just resetting and, getting ready for my busy season at work. So I'm not really going to do a whole lot. So I'm going to do something different with my weekly vlog. I am going to pop on tomorrow, which is Labor Day. I'm going to let you know what I have chosen to read for the week, at least starting out. And then if I do end up finishing one or both books and I pick up another one, I will come on later that week and tell you. If not, I'm just going to tell you what I'm reading, and then the next clip you see will be the end of the week where I wrap up what I read and how I felt about them, because like I said, there's not going to be a whole lot going on. So I'm just going to take the week to rest. So I know it's not going to be my standard weekly vlog where you get to see kind of what I'm doing or what I'm reading, but hopefully you enjoy it anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and go. I'm going to enjoy this Sunday. I'm just going to go kind of relax, kind of get some gaming in. I'm not really going to read much today. I'm going to wait until tomorrow, just kind of let my brain set with the whole Fairytale thing, because the author blew my mind 1,000 times over. My brain is mush right now because I'm just I can't believe all of this happened. I can't believe this character was this, or, was linked to this, or, interconnected with this, or whatever. It was just wild. So, love it. 5-star. I can't believe, you guys, that in this weekly vlog, not only do I have a 5-star read, I have 2 5-star reads. Love Theoretically and Fairy both 5 stars, both my absolute favorites of the year. So I can't believe that I went on a string of duds and then this happened. So I'm so shook about that. But I hope you guys have a great day. Hope you enjoy your Labor Day weekend and everything. And I will see you guys in the next vlog, and we'll just see what we're going to get to reading. Bye.